This video has been created to document the design and creation of Auroa School's dance pads. I'm Jason Bloor, the project leader teacher, and this is our journey. I originally got excited about creating my own pads in 2004 and went to work constructing two separate pads. They were used at events all around the country and at home. In 2019, I decided to work with the students of Auroa School to create our own. We made two teams: construction, tasked with creating the device, and media, who would create original songs, music videos, and dance steps. Like everyone working on the dance pads, the first step was to actually play them, to work out what they are and how they work. The pads use a USB encoder that transmits button pushes to a computer. The dance pad is essentially a button, so we wired up a button to see how this concept works. Then we opened up the dance pads to see how they were made and to highlight how we could make it better.
Yeah, and then fill up this. And then if we put this one under, yeah, let's fill that. And then I'll show, like, this one's a bit more bouncier and like easier.
I guess it's gonna, but if you put these little things, it's gonna make it a bit more sensitive and it's not as hard.
Well, you don't want them like at least small, you want them at least bigger than this, because then you can actually fit your whole foot on it.
Some of the problems we found: the wires were wrapped around screws, causing bad signals and breakages. The metal plate configuration meant the corners were unbalanced. We would address the problems by using I-terminals for the wire connections and by using metal elbow plates for the corners.
The idea for making this song came from Paige's short film, The Lost Bananas. If we wrote a theme song, we could use the footage from her film. After brainstorming, we did auditions to find a rapper.
When a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and rubs it in your face, you get oops, I got na-na-na-ba-ba, singing ba-ba-ba. Prison earth and prison signs, the label button, listen to any criticism, but you knew but you didn't, so pick it, example, listen, stereo system, you can say that I'm driven.
Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. You know that I've got whiskey and white lines.
In the music, the moment, never letting go. Yeah, I can make very weird noises.
Alright, show us some weird noises, mate. In the end, we chose fast-talking Karis.
I told Mr. Bloor Bishy Bashy didn't like me, and he didn't listen. He's like, course, Bishy Bashy likes you. No, it doesn't.
And smooth-singing Mina.
Yeah, Lost Bananas.
And our two singers, Peyton and Harper. Here we go. Nice, make it big.
I've searched so high and I've searched so low. If you find no high and I've searched so low.
Come on, Paige. Paige. Okay, we're not recording it. Hello.
Hey, Charles Phil. This monkey's lost his nana. It's so low. If you find it.
Action! See the Dalai Lama. He told me, just wait for the karma. That's it, it's time for big drama.
Where did my nanas go? I've searched so high and I've searched so low. If you find them, will you let me know? This monkey's lost his nana.
began work on a prototype pad, laser cutting the base and frame. First test.
Yep.
Oh, that's gonna.
Has that got long enough screws? Have
No.
we got long enough screws?
That's why we're doing. That's why we're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
but for the elbows we will use the other screws, okay? Because they're fatter tops.
After creating a frame and screwing in the wooden elbows, we began wiring. Crimping eye terminals to the wires and screwing them under the metal plates.
So it's like when you put down the pads, the reaction goes through the wires.
because they're all joined together.
Yeah, and then it sends through to the computer.
Then we cut out tin squares and attached it to the underside of the top pad. We used blue tack to hold the tiny tack in place.
We turned our school whiter into a hip-hop version with the help of Bridie and Maddie.
Tell me if this is good or not.
Yep.
Is ngā tuakana. Ngā tuakana. Yep, the second line is ki ngā tina. Ki ngā tina. Yep, they look alright. Okay, so tuakana. Tuakana. Ki ngā tina. Ki ngā tina. Tina, I mean Tina. Tina. Tuku. Tuku. Turinga. Yep. Okay, ready? Go. Te mea nui, ko te aroha ki te tangata I ngā hua katoa. Ki ngā matua, ki ngā rangatira, ki ngā matua.
Once the singing was sorted, we started working on our rap.
Alright guys. Salute.
That's the idea.
What the? Don't worry, we got it on camera.
Man, you can stop this. With our team, you know we got this. The example. Time to see dreams from a new angle.
You're on.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I get respect because I'm down with Billy. Listen up, if you got ears. With a team, you know we get this. Angles, a dream and you can't stop this. With our team, you know we got this.
Simple and not, yeah.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I get respect because I'm down with Peru. Listen up, if you've got ears, bring your mates, that's the idea. Raw, steady, tall, we set the example. Time to see dreams from a new angle. So dream and you can't stop this. My team, you know we got this.
The elbows were screwed into the base, and then the wire from the elbows and the wire from the tin were connected to the USB encoder.
Oh, look at the screen.
Screen? Alright, so what do we got here, guys? Number 4.
Pad's working.
This is our first test. So show us how you push it.
Go. It's
Push the pad, and that comes on. Brilliant.
good that we've gotten it right.
That's right, well done. What's the problem there, McCallum?
It's pretty good.
It's too cool for school.
So, if you stand on the corners, the wood will go like that, and it can cause people to trip up. So what we need to do is we need to put the elbows right to the edge of the wood, so then it doesn't. It can't do.
And then
that.
add a bigger piece of foam for the middle, and then everything will sit nice and flush.
Blush?
The initial idea for a dance remix of the school waita came from a dance move that everyone was doing.
They're in the zone.
So, kote mea nui, te aroha, ki te tangata e ngā wā katoa. Yes, we all do it then. Arithmetics and my ABCs. I love Puri, but does Puri love me? Arithmetics and my ABCs. I love Puri, but does Puri love me?
Is that right? So grab a piece of papes and go and start
Can Amana's boyfriend stay?
brainstorm. Yes.
Everything was filmed on our green screen and then painstakingly composited together in the studio.
And then do this dance. Can you do a dance like that? Do you think you can do that?
Action!
Run.
Nice.
So we've been doing a little bit of recording in the green screen, and we've put together our video with lots of effects that Auroa has been doing.
Yeah, we work a lot on the green screen and like a lot on the special effects and like taking photos outside and stuff.
And how did you make some of your green screen characters, how did you make them stand out in the front?
Well, we had to edit the blurriness in between the different shots, and like each shot had to have a different bit of blurriness, and yeah, just so you could see the person a bit better.
With our prototype working, we began production on 8 pads. The most accurate method was laser cutting the plywood, but getting the strength right proved problematic. We went for less power, but this required a lot of cleanup afterwards. We slightly modified our elbows to include better guide holes to avoid splitting. We added the tin to the bottom of the pads and then painted it with undercoat. We also created a mock-up of how we thought the machine could look.
Country Girl was created to represent who we are and where we come from, rural Taranaki. We've all grown up working with animals and driving on the farm. So we each took the camera home and filmed ourselves. I'm a country girl with my farmy friends, and I ride till I die, yeah, to the end.
we got chickens. There ain't nothing missing. Now never give up, 'cause I'm a country girl.
We created 2 different control panels and chose the second design due to its compact nature. We laser cut the final panel with buttons for player 1 and 2. Then added the buttons and micro switches to the housing as well as the LEDs.
Go, John T. He's the
Okay,
master.
so what you need to do is you need to make sure that bit is pointing out those, whatever they are, and then you get that little knob thing, and then you click those together, like it should be working. Wait, it's not working, so I don't know. There we go. And then you pull it away from that knob and then push it towards it again because it's already over, and then just done.
Nice. And what are these things, guys?
That's to go on the button, so like, I think, I can't actually remember, but it just goes in the button.
Then we wired up the USB encoder and tested it by using the buttons like dance pads.
Don't you get used to it already?
Meanwhile, we began to work on our base, attaching edges to house the pad cavities.
Now listen to your captain and let's go now.
The concept for Captain Says came from Grace and Georgia giving salutes. From that idea, we developed a song that would play like Simon Says.
This is song making with rapper Georgia Sky Signs. Look.
Hi, Grace.
Woohoo. Testing the mics right now.
Captain says go right.
Captain Says go right.
So once again, it's just like that robot thing that every time. Hi! Georgia, please.
So I just say the whole thing like in a row.
We did.
Yeah.
Actually, we did.
Right, left, go left, go left, go left, right, left, go up, go up, go up, down, up. Go right,
Go left, right, right. When Captain says go up, down, right. Good.
When Captain says jump, you say how high. When Captain says jump, you say how high.
Are you ready?
Captain says go left.
So jump, so jump, so jump, jump, jump. So jump, so jump, so jump, jump, jump. Go left, go left, go left, right, left. Go left, go left, go left, right, left.
The foam was cut to size to fit in the dance pad cavities. Holes were cut in the middle of the foam so we could add a wooden support to the centre of each pad. This would stop pads from becoming bowed in the centre and eliminate the possibility of it breaking. Countersinking all of the screw holes would mean the pads would sit flush.
Go on the phone. That's why he wants to
What are you guys working on there?
I'm working on making these holes, well, we're working on getting out these holes, so they're just big holes.
So you do that, so that's, and then you push them through with anything like that.
Yeah, cool. I got some old schools for you boys. What's happening here?
Sinking,
filling some holes for the screws for our corners and
so that the head slot in nicely.
We set up a production line to create the wire looms that connect each pad to the USB encoder. Wires were cut and stripped to the exact length using our unique naming technique. Tiny Tim, Small Jeff, Bob and Big Jeff. They were stripped, crimped, screwed to the elbows with the metal plates and then screwed to the dance pad base. This took about 6 hours. Wires were then run through the base to the terminal strip. Men at Work was all about giving our construction boys their own song.
That's right.
And what would the song be about? Well, making the dance pads, of course.
Oh my goodness.
all day long. Grab your man scissors. Grab your man scissors. Grab your man scissors. All day long. 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are the men at the work. We'll build a better earth. We'll fill the schools with song and dance all day long.
We recorded lots of the tools we had used to create a rhythm breakdown.
And dance all day long.
Our final shot required us to set up a green screen outside. We then used drone footage to capture our performance from a bird's eye view. Our elements were then duplicated and positioned to create our stunning final image.
We are the men at the work. We'll build a better earth. We'll fill the schools with song and dance all day long.
That's why what was the trickiest part?
Ooh, nice.
Probably figuring out all the measurements. There's nothing that was too hard, but yeah, it was just figuring out all the measurements for all the pads and seeing if it all fit.
Was it fun?
How many mistakes did you do?
Actually, maybe like 2. But
A few little bits and pieces along the way. A few things have fallen off and a few things got tricks cut slightly too quickly.
Tell me more.
mine.
Tell me
That's
more.
all right.
And we made one mistake that's permanent.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? One of the pads has a burnt corner.
Oh.
So it's like a rounded off corner, so there's like a little gap. That metal hits that metal, and we send a connection through and makes the pad work. And
Like make the step go.
yeah,
Is there going to be sponge in there?
yeah.
Yep.
But we just
About
haven't
his
put it in.
favourite part.
And the sponge is somewhere over here. So it'll be like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's good. Well done, bye.
Sponge goes in there, over that hole, or over here.
When we said nice description bit, it was because Ella was just like, what did you say? Is it good? Yeah, is it strong? And then he was like, it's strong.
It's strong. Boys have made it tough. Boys have made it tough. Okay, hey, let's get the girls to talk about a couple of the things that you guys have been up to. Okay, because the boys haven't seen any of your handiwork. So what have you guys been working on?
We've been making videos.
We've been planning.
I've never
Okay.
recognised that. I did. I
So
love how
that's
like,
something you guys could do.
oh, boom.
I just want you guys to recognise that there's two places that we haven't designed yet. Okay, this top place, that's just a straight thing, and that bottom place. Okay, they have.
So we're going to put acrylic in there.
With the pads finished, we began looking at using acrylic on the two middle cavities with LEDs and etched graphics. Many tests began.
What are you guys doing?
We're sizing up the scale for a test for acrylic on the front of our screen. Oh, it didn't got through.
Oh, not through.
That one did.
Oh yeah, that one did.
Congratulations. It is dust. That's what it is. Can I blow on it?
Not towards the camera. Let's just wipe it on something, man. Wipe it on.
Yeah, what the
Look at that.
Powder. It's like a powder. Okay, that's sort of.
Just don't cut yourself. Pretty close, eh?
It will come off if you give it a bit of work.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut myself.
Yeah, no, don't cut yourself. And hold that to there so you're getting the light coming through those. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty blinding, isn't it? But it won't be that hardcore.
Photos were taken and then worked on to create stencils ready for laser cutting.
Nachos with cheese jalapeno. So much to try, señorita. We danced and drank margaritas under the desert sky.
The idea for the Ballad of Pablo and Jose came from an impromptu dress-up.
There you go. Oh, that's video. Hey, I gotta get.
My name is
Under the desert sky.
2, 1, go.
Nachos and cheese jalapeno. So much to try, señorita.
The story centers around Pablo and Jose fighting for the señorita's attention.
Ashley's smiling again. I'm not sure whether she will be able to act without smiling. Same again, without the giggles.
We took test shots to make sure we were ready to film at Pioneer Village.
Nice little end, well done.
Action.
Just moseying along. Hey, damn pretty lady, hey. Beautiful.
One, action.
Hang on, and maybe that needs to come towards us.
Okay.
Is that alright?
That means choose to go.
So much to try, señorita. We dance and drink margaritas under the desert sky. We then moved on to brainstorming cabinet design ideas and possible artwork.
So if we put the wheels on, it won't add any height to the cabinet because we can just cut off the bottom of it how high the wheels are, and so it won't add any height, and it still will be pretty big.
We look for them online or something soon.
Yeah, you could use the ones that lock on. Does lock on wheels?
Either we're going to have the speakers up on the top by where the sign is going to be, so it would be right up the top, up like by the curved bits.
Or
points in
we're
it.
going to have it by the control panel down by the control panel on each
Maybe
on those sides down here.
So what we're trying to say is that the speakers would go one there and one on that side, or either say if this was the sign up on either side of that.
Hey, so we might have room in the kitchen to move into. Let's just have a look.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of
How about boys stay in here, girls stay in there?
Bye.
I might move you guys into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Alright, nice.
I tried to do one of it.
Try some different things.
You can do some like designs over here.
Put it here, but then you can put like an LED strip around
Oh,
the side.
I have an idea that we could like have like arrows stacked up.
That's real cool.
we could possibly add some like.
So for
I don't think too much designs on them.
So we need girl colours come at the top and boys colours come at the bottom for LED. Oh, cool.
okay, for the acrylic we got all the cables coming from sides like and.
The top there for the girls' colour and then a boys' colour at the bottom. Yeah.
I took all of the designs and worked on the cabinet in the holidays with the help of my dad. We started by building a base, adding wheels, then the sides, and then the front, the top. We then added a bracket for the TV and then undercoated the whole thing, and then we painted it all blue. With acrylic planned as the top, I had to build up the base layer by layer while incorporating our LEDs. The girls section includes big silhouette cavities with a single coloured LED that triggers on when you step on its corresponding pad. I put light gels on the underside to create the different colours. The top plate was lightly etched to give an enhanced glow to the outside of the silhouettes. The boys section of the pad features their amazing negative cutout image and a hole to see the wiring and USB encoder. I made 2 stencils for the pad's arrows, one for each colour, white and blue. The marquee was illuminated with 2 LED strips. After creating tests for the speaker grills, I lasered the acrylic. While that was happening, the media team worked on programming steps for Novus and Easy, while the harder levels were done by a step programmer called Bad Wolf. Once they had tested it and made sure it worked, it was time to bring the cabinet back to school for the big reveal.
Addison, what has happened today?
You finished the thing?
How long have you been asking for it?
A month?
Months? Probably months, eh? And what have you been asking Mr. Bloor every day?
When is it going to be done?
That's right. Well, today it's done. All right, so come on in. Yep. Cool.
Yeah,
All right. If you want to push the green, yep. What do you think?
It's so pretty. I just want to touch it so much.
You can touch it, mate. Mina's here.
That's the prettiest part.
And this is me.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yes, that's so cool.
This is you, Mina.
That's good. Now we can go
This is you.
Who's that?
That's Paige.
It's so cool.
It's the best.
She's interested.
Wait, we are awesome.
Speechless.
You're awesome.
She's speechless.
So-
It's so fresh. So dreaming you can't stop this. Well, my team, you know we got this.
Hello.
He's back. We're still waiting because we're going after Ivana next.
Two and a bit.
Do you want me to do your front?
Wait outside, guys. We don't want anyone fading, especially colours.
I feel like fading.
Otherwise,
It's just too fun, Mr. Bloor. Can I go next years before us, though? Come in here.
alright.
It's concert.
Well, double dance panda.
I'm making this one fun. Mr. Bloor, how are you reacting to this?
I'm not reacting to it. It's just crazy in here, Laura. It's getting hot, but everyone keeps shutting the door.
And this fella over here is gonna give me the trophy. Just saying. It's actually me. It's actually me, sorry.
Was it worth the wait?
Yes.
Yeah.
The dance pads were a hit and the demand to play on them is high. The construction team had successfully learnt how the pads were made, created our own working prototype, refined our design and produced a final structure that is built strong, works and looks amazing. The media team also had a huge journey, brainstorming ideas, writing lyrics, recording vocals and sounds, filming, editing and programming dance steps to make 11 highly creative and original dance tracks.